Good morning, everyone. And again, happy Ram Navami. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Forgive my Western ignorance of some of these issues. I saw that a few of you snuck in during the meditation, so some of you may not know who I am. My name is Acharya Dharana, and I normally live at a beautiful ashram in Watunde, where Swami Kriyananda spent the last 3 years of his life when he wasn't on tour in Europe and other continents. And it has been my privilege also to come from 2013 to 2016, somewhere in those years. My memory is a little vague on it, precisely the dates, but Sagar used to lead us in bringing a team of teachers to Mumbai before Narayani and Sherjo came to live here. So I was part of the pre-Mumbai Mumbai. And it was a delight to be a part of that beginning. And it's also a delight to see a few of the people that were part of Mumbai then are still with it. That's encouraging to see. But there's a lot of new faces too, and bright new faces. It's a delight to see you all. And it's delightful what you've done with this center here. When they were inviting me, they were saying, oh, you focus on, talk about seclusion, talk about seclusion. And I want to touch on that, but I want to focus more on what I think might help Mumbaikers more, which is balancing work and spirituality, because this is the financial capital of the world that you're living in, of India, I should say. Not quite the world, but in a very important center worldwide of financial activity. It's a very big city. And it's a very busy city, and it's easy to get lost in that busyness. And I think some of you might be thinking, oh, if only I could live in simpler times and live under the trees and have a simpler lifestyle. Ram, in his exile from the kingdom, lived a very simple life. And so he could focus on his meditation, he could focus on his devotion more. But this is a different age. This is not the high age of Lord Rama, but we've come out of the low age of Kali, according to Sri Yukteswar. And I believe him. Now, I know that you grew up with the tradition that we're still in Kali. How many of you still believe that? You're all convinced? How many still believe that you're in Kali because you grew up with that tradition? Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga. Nobody? You're all convinced? Okay. I have a whole slideshow on exactly the steps that happened and so on. I'll save that for now. But if anybody told you that we're still in winter, would you believe them? No, because you know what it means to be in winter, and you know what it means to be out of winter. And I think the reason that people are still holding on to that tradition that we're in Kali is that nobody knows what it means to be in the age of Dwapara. Dwapara is an age of energy awareness. And with that energy awareness comes inward energy awareness, which is a blessing. That's why the world is more ready for a thing like Kriya Yoga, but also a lot more activity. And spirituality itself has made a very important shift in the transition from these ages. If you wanted to be spiritual in Kali Yuga, then you had to basically become a monk or a nun. And you had to renounce the world. In Dwapara Yuga, it's totally okay. In fact, it's normal to live a life where you are no longer renouncing the world. Now we're trying to serve the world, and particularly serve the God in everyone around you, serving God primarily. And these masters came at this time, at this transition, or soon after the transition, to help guide us in how to live spirituality in this new age. So I want to play a quote from the New Path. So there's a whole chapter in the New Path called Work versus Meditation. And for those of you who haven't read it, you might want to reread it because there's a lot of important details in there.
Intensity.
So start over. And I'm going to hold this close to my microphone, so hopefully everyone will pick it up. This is Master, I'm sorry, this is Swami Kriyananda, who's over there, quoting Yogananda in different ways about this topic. So here we go.
Intensity is everything. Intensity of awareness. Superconsciousness cannot be attained by half-hearted efforts. You must be calmly active and actively calm, Master said. Be intensely aware of everything you are doing. Work on the spiritual path is a means of helping one to channel his energies constantly, dynamically, toward God. Make every minute count, Master said. The minutes are more important than the years. People who put their whole concentration into working for God find they can also meditate more deeply. When you work for God, not self, Master told us one day, that is just as good as meditation. Then work helps your meditation, and meditation helps your work. You need the balance. With only meditation, you become lazy, and the senses become strong. With only work, the mind becomes restless and you forget God.
I want to emphasize some of the things that he just said there. We will all want to get to a place where our work helps our meditation and our meditation helps our work. This is the core, in very few words, of what spirituality has to look like in this new age. And we have traditions of monks living a certain way. If you think of like the Swami vows at the time of Adi Shankaracharya, they were vows of, I will not work for my own living. I will only beg. I will stay in a place no more than 3 days. Those vows are totally out of place in today's lifestyle. Don't be ashamed of living in the model of the higher ages to the best of your ability, trying to live like Rama and Sita and Krishna and Arjuna. They lived in higher ages. We need to live like they did. We need to live by their model. It's okay to be married. Totally okay to be married. It's more a matter of, can you grow more in a married lifestyle or in a single lifestyle, and live our lives accordingly. Try to live our lives with the priority of finding God and let everything else follow from that. So part of it he started by saying, intensity is everything, intensity of awareness. Try to live with as much intensity of awareness as you can. I mean, this is something that you can practice in your work life more, but also in your meditation. Apply that equally in meditation. Try to go as deep as you can. If you think about Yogananda's most advanced disciple, what was it that made him so advanced? It was his capacity to bring that intensity of focus to whatever he did. And so when he put his mind on the spiritual path, he found samadhi in a few years, basically. So make every minute count. That's another way of saying intensity. When you work for God, not self, this is a very key point. In this age, the tendency is self-interest. In Kali, it was self-survival. In for the man, common man. In Dwapara, we moved up to self-interest. Most of the people around you are living their lives pursuing self-interests. And you see it in terms of, oh, here's this product that makes you look better. Here's this product that makes you whatever. Don't you want one of these? Don't you want one of those? And so many people are pursuing that. The Satya Yuga ideal and common level of awareness is serving God and forgetting yourself. So if we can adopt that today, nothing holding us back. It's just a matter of changing your attitude. Try to serve God in every moment. How do we do that? I said our masters came to show us how. There's this wonderful chapter in The New Path, Work versus Meditation, but there's also a lot more. There's a wonderful book, How to Be a Success. This is all about bringing our spirituality into our work, making our work a devotional thing. The more that we're focused on serving God, the more that we're thinking of God in our seva, in our daily activities, the more it's automatic. It's easy to continue thinking of God in our meditation. It can flow. This can work. So how does meditation help our work? When we go deep in meditation, we get insights, we get inspirations. God is the dreamer of this entire dream. God knows every aspect of what's going on in this dream, and God can help you if you are seeking his help, seeking his guidance. Here's another question. There's a wonderful prayer that Master shared with us. I will reason, I will, I will act. But guide thou my reason, will, and activity in everything that I do. Many of you, your heads are nodding. You know that prayer. How many of you are using that prayer? And how often are you using that prayer? Do you use it before you start your work day? It's a good idea. You know, the power of Maya, Satan, is imposing its ideas on us. But God and the masters, they're polite. They don't come unless we invite them. Don't forget to invite them. I want to tell a short story. And this touches on seclusion. The power of seclusion is that Seclusion is like spending quality time with God. And if you want to develop your spirituality, to me, spirituality means developing a deeper relationship between my individual spirit and the infinite spirit. And the best way to deepen any relationship is have some quality time together, right? Not just busy doing, focused on so many other things, but quality time together. Seclusion is quality time with God. In my first seclusion, or actually, I'm not remembering which seclusion it was, but in one of my seclusions, I was at the old meditation retreat in California near Ananda village. I was in a secluded cabin. And in those days, at least, we could make arrangements and have one meal a day brought to us. And I had a week-long seclusion, and I was focusing on trying to perfect each of my techniques. And I had beautiful inspiration with me. Another aspect about Master talks about diet. And one of his instructions on diet is once in a while, a mono diet is helpful. He recommended apples or pears primarily. And that's very helpful, you know, especially if your body is fighting off an illness. But he also talked about your mental diet. And he didn't, I haven't seen this two ideas together anywhere, but what about a mental mono diet once in a while? Only inspiration. Ignore the news, ignore the social media, only inspiration. In general, the more we can make our diet, you know, put a lot of inspiration into our mental diet, that will help us keep our spirituality alive. It's the times when we are fasting on inspiration because of some work deadline or whatever. I think it's happened to all of us. That's when we forget about God, and that's when we lose our meditation. We lose our inspiration to meditation. Actually, this is something that with only work, the mind becomes restless and you forget God. At least keep inspiration going as much as you can. So in this seclusion, I was focused on meditation. I was going deeper and deeper and deeper in meditation. And I got to a wonderful place. I was in deep bliss and I was loving it, enjoying it. But I could hear outside somebody walking up and leaving a plate outside my cabin. And I thought, oh, wonderful. When I'm done with this meditation, I'll be able to enjoy my dinner. Wonderful. And I went in and, you know, continued with my meditation. It's too deep to break off. And after some time, I have no clock. I don't know how long it was. The thought came back to my mind. Oh, it's November out there. It's my dinner's probably getting cold. But this is too good. I don't want to lose this meditation. And this went on. I need to speed this up because it's already 10 o'clock. But I finally got to a place where I'd already prolonged it. And it was like, my dinner is probably already a little bit cold. And I was caught in this dilemma. You know, do I give up this wonderful meditation or do I have a warm dinner? Which do I choose? And I thought, you know, in this state, an inspiration came to me. Why not try to do both? And so I moved very slowly, like a glacier, towards the door, pulled up the plate, and said, you know, and I prayed, you know, God, it's been so delightful being with you in this meditation. Won't you join me for dinner? And that prayer worked. I ate slowly, holding on to God's presence with every moment, every bite, every flavor. And that I say this story partly to give you an insight that you can apply every day. Because I realized that, even though I had a practice of meditation already, a daily practice of meditation, which I hope you all do, at least, better twice a day, 3 times a day. But in my morning meditation, I would, at the end of that, I would, pray for others and I kneel and thank you, God, for being with me in this meditation. It felt only right to be grateful for being the darshan, with the inner darshan with God. But I realized on some level of my consciousness, part of me was not only saying, thank you for being with me, part of me was saying, and goodbye for now. I didn't have the expectation that God would continue to be with me throughout the day. And I realized I could shift that prayer and make it a conscious prayer. Thank you, God, for being with me in this meditation. And won't you stay with me throughout the day? We ended the prayer and we ended the meditation in a very nice way, holding on to that spirit. This is a very good idea. I'm just, explaining it in more detail. It's so prayer helps. Asking for God's presence helps. I'm going to try to run through my a few more points quickly. We have time? Nobody's stressed for time? It's a Sunday. It's a holiday. Nobody's stressed for time. Okay, maybe I'll continue going into more detail here. So seclusion helps, quality time for God, when you can. And that's why we've got a meditation retreat. That's why I'm still there to keep it open. How many of you are Kriyabans here today? Okay. Half price for Kriyaban, 50% discount. Room to yourself, 1,500 rupees a day, 3 meals included. And you can meditate in a cave we've dedicated to Babaji. It's not the Babaji's cave, but it's a cave dedicated to Babaji. And it's close, it's walking distance. You can walk there, time in nature, time in the cave, meditation. It's a 2-for-1. You get a little meditation, a little walk, a little being in nature. That's why we're there. I don't see many of you very often. Many of you I've never seen there. You're welcome to come. I made it. It's not that far. Prayer helps. I talked about that. Deepen your meditations also. The deeper we go in our meditations, the easier it is to hold on to God's bliss in your meditation. This is a fairly quiet spot. I'm delighted that it's so relatively quiet during the meditation. In case some of you are living in areas or trying to meditate at times when it's not so quiet, I hope all of you have a pair of these and use them. When Master was alive, he created what he called the Temple of Silence. And it was a primitive kind of thing. Swamiji said it was kind of painful to wear for too long, but it would press on the traguses of the ear. It had 2 little rubber balls that press in like that, a little dangling spiritual eye in front of you. But Master was trying in that direction. And this is perfectly legitimate. If you're not already using headphones, perfectly legitimate. Master would approve. These work much better than the Temple of Silence. You don't end up with being painful. One of the best ways to deepen your meditation is also, Mahamudra. It's important. Don't skip it. Deepen your devotion. The more that we can make every kriya, every breath, for non-kriya bonds, but make every breath a self-offering. Then with sincerity, then that will draw God's presence much, much more. God listens to our heart. Swamiji in The New Path talked about how yoga cannot give us God, but it can help us very much in giving ourselves to God. The practices of yoga can help us in that. And the more we sincerely give ourselves to God, the more that magnetizes God's grace. Another thing that helps greatly is community, satsang. And it's delightful to see that you've got a bunch of devotees coming together regularly. That's wonderful. I'm envious. And I have some news in that regard. We've been trying to sell off the flats for a long, long time. And it looks like we may succeed in that relatively soon. Fortunately, the man who wants to buy it is an architect. He knows what he's doing. And he's very open to renting. I think he'll be very open to renting to Ananda members, which finally, after too long, may make it possible for people to work and live there, renting those apartments. Now, those of you who are able to work from home, I know that's not all of you. Many of you need to come into work now and then, but those of you who are able to work from home, once we're able to rent apartments to you there, I hope some of you will consider joining us there. I had the privilege of living at Ananda Assisi for some time, and we had a community based on a retreat center. And it was more of, I think, what Swami Kriyananda wanted in trying to create a community here in India. He wanted an example of what we have at Ananda Village, but he wanted that here. And I think a retreat center needs to be part of it. If a retreat center is part of it, then we have a working example that people can come and stay and experience for themselves and see what a difference it makes. I hope this can work. I hope you will keep that in your prayers. And I hope some of you will come and visit us sometimes. Once again, I wish you all a happy Ram Navmi. Should I end with a prayer? Healing prayers. Okay, let's first let's bring to mind our friends, family members, other loved ones, and anyone else you know of in some special need. Let's include all of those who are suffering due to poverty or warfare or tragedies, illnesses. Bring all of them to mind. Visualize them all filled with Divine Mother's love, for grace, for healing power, filling them, uplifting them, purifying them in God's light. And now, while continuing to visualize these souls, let's offer this prayer. Divine Mother, thou art present everywhere. Thou art present in all of these. Thy children manifest thy healing presence in their bodies, in their minds, and in their souls. Let's rub our hands together. Also try to infuse not only Divine Mother's energy, but the energy of Ram and Sita. Send these vibrations out now with the power of Om. Shanti, Shanti.